Hi everybody, it's Michelle and today's topic is all about the winter blues here in Canada. And stick around too if you watched my video on my 10-day sugar detox, which turned into a 30-day sugar detox, because later on in the video I give you an update on how I'm doing with that as well. Enjoy the show. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying my material. You know, there's a difference between disliking winter and being worn down by it, truly worn down. For many people here in Canada, winter isn't just a few nasty snowstorms and a month of bad weather. Most Canadians are dealing with approximately a 4-month winter. And in some years, when winter starts early and goes long, that can be 5 months long. Particularly this year. This year we are having a very long, very hard winter. The amount of snowfall that my own small city has received has already been three times what the annual snowfall amount normally is. And we still have 2 more months of winter to go. We've had more number of days with an extreme cold warning, and we've been longer than a month in an extreme weather event within our city. So at this point, it just seems like such a fitting topic to discuss, because even though there are still 2 months of winter left, hopefully, not good, in my area, I don't know about anybody else, but I am really scratching the bottom of the barrel in terms of looking for strategies to feel still positive, to still feel like my mood is more on an upswing than a downswing, and not to have extreme cabin fever. It's been weeks, actually months by now. It's been 2 months of limited movement, canceled plans, constantly checking the road reports and the weather forecasts, making plans close to home, reduced daylight, and a steady erosion of motivation and mood. Usually it's not as bad as that. Usually we might get, 3 weeks in a row. That's really bad, but then you'll get a week or a 10-day stretch where the weather is nice enough to be out and sunshine days to help you bounce back a bit before you hit the next nasty pattern. But this year it has been forever ongoing for months now. So this video today is going to look at the winter blues and what actually the winter blues are, what causes them, what helps offset them, and why long winter months can cause people in retirement, especially those who are living alone, to start to rethink where they live and what their plan is going forward in terms of mental health and physical health, overall well-being, and the quality of life that they wish to live for this last chapter of their life. So let's start with winter blues. What are winter blues actually? Well, there's quite a wide spectrum in what winter blues could mean. In the most mild description, it would be just a slight dip in motivation or in positivity that people may experience during the months where the days are shorter and the temperatures are colder, so they're spending a lot more time indoors. For others on the other side of the range, the more extreme range, winter blues could actually be referring to seasonal affective disorder, which is, people nickname it SAD, S-A-D. And that's when you have enough of a dip in serotonin that you actually start to experience a mild form of depression. Common symptoms would be a low mood, emotional flatness in some, a real sense of fatigue that doesn't improve with lots of rest, increased isolation, potential social withdrawal, difficulty concentrating, either oversleeping or difficulty sleeping well, and a reduced motivation to engage in the activities that you already were engaging in and getting quite a lot of joy out of, and had quite a good momentum going leading up to winter. And then slowly over the months of winter, your momentum has slowed down significantly and you can't seem to get yourself out to those same activities or feel the same amount of incentive to engage in them. What's important to realize with the winter blues is that this isn't a personal failure. And a lot of people, I think, at this time, particularly if you are solo, or particularly if you have wound down your career and no longer working in a career, you can blame yourself for it and just suspect that there's some personal failure on your part, that you are not as socially engaged or perhaps as interesting a person as you thought that you were. But really what causes it is when there's a stacking up of environmental stressors. You are exposed to less light. You are spending a lot more time indoors. You are experiencing physical challenges just being outside in outer environments. Simply the act of going and getting in your car and going out to the store or getting to a place that you need to be, it takes a huge amount of effort because first of all, you need to get dressed in a lot more clothing than you normally would. There's a shoveling of the walkway as you head outside and step into 10 to 15 centimeters of snow. There's the brushing the snow off the car and running the car for 5 minutes as you scrape the windows so that it will be in a safe manner for you to drive. So you're defrosting the windows by running the car for 5 minutes as well. You're out there with an ice and snow brush, scraping the frost and ice off the windows. You might have to shovel the edge of your driveway in order to get out if the plow's gone by. Then there's the driving on less sure roads where you have sometimes nasty driving conditions and you need to take it slower, or there's a little bit more white knuckle driving as you are trying to navigate the more slender roads filled with snow. Wheels are spinning. Some are driving less safe than you because they either are inexperienced in snow or for some reason they think that they are invincible and they are not concerned for their own safety, nor are they for yours. But either way, just getting out the door and getting somewhere is a more difficult challenge that can also create some nervousness or anxiety, or even just a low level of stress. If on the outside you feel like you're not nervous or anxious at all, but just taking on the extra concentration that you need to take on, adding in the extra time and having a little bit more of a physical challenge is a low level stress that your body and your brain are accumulating. For some of us, there might also be physical challenges. For me personally, I can speak that even though I go to the gym every single day and I have been working for the last couple of years doing muscle workouts with weights and building the strength in my core and my legs and my arms, I still ended up getting injured shoveling snow this January. We just had too many days in a row, weeks on end, of dumpings of snow, 20 centimeters, 30 centimeters, 40 centimeters sometimes. And just that constant shoveling of snow ultimately gave me back strain and hip strain, and I have problems now that I'm trying to work their way out of, but they require a lot of rest. So if you are familiar with an aging body and coping with snow, you might also have been faced this year with more physical demands on the body. Even physically and mentally strong people can feel depleted when winter just is a continuous onslaught of environmental stressors. Repetitive strain, overuse injuries, and fatigue become more likely, especially those who live alone and don't have any help. For me and for others, it means less exercise because I'm not exercising in an outer environment. I'm going to a gym to exercise. So if you're going to the gym less, now all of a sudden your physical health is declining. It means less social interactions. There's been a lot of canceled plans. In fact, of all the plans that I've had in the last 6 weeks or 7 weeks, I'd say, probably about 70% of them have been canceled due to poor weather conditions or illness due to flus and colds. The longer days indoors have led to a real sense of stagnation as I feel the weeks tick by and feel like I'm losing time. I'm one of those people who want to look back every month and feel that the month has been purposeful. But I suspect as I look back at my winter this year, I will feel like it was just a lost 4 months thrown away at an age and stage in life where we're all very aware of just how many years we may have left within us, or certainly just how many years we might have within us that are still strong go-go years. As I have sat here for the last 2 weeks with my injuries and knowing that the best thing to do is to just simply rest them and trying to feel content just doing quiet inside projects, it's made my future come into focus a lot more as I start to think, wait a minute, I don't know how many winters I have left, maybe 25 or 30 winters left. Do I really want to spend every single winter potentially being indoors for 4 months or potentially having to deal with these physical strains because of dealing with outdoor weather? Watching my own physical conditioning decline within a matter of weeks is a little bit of a glimpse of what it might be like in the future if I was living with any kind of a chronic physical ailment, which I know that many seniors do have to live with. But as I sit sidelined for a few weeks and I see just how rapidly not only my physical conditioning can decline, but how rapidly my mood can decline and how small your world gets when you're housebound because of weather conditions, it's a little bit of a glimpse into life 10 years from now when I might be dealing with more serious health ailments. It's not a pretty picture, folks. It's a little scary. But because of that, it's actually making me think much more seriously about finding a place to winter outside of Canada for the future. Now, I'm not in any kind of an economic situation where I actually can afford to be a snowbird. But there's a part of me that is also saying for the first time, you might need to make it a part of you. You might need to get incredibly creative and find a way that you can get out of town for at least the worst 2 months of the winter each year. Because frankly, it seems like a real waste of time to throw away when you already know you have a limited time ahead of you, to waste 4 months every year of that living indoors. I also think that if I were to relocate to a warmer location, that just having that positive social engagement and being outside in the sunshine every day would help me to stay healthier longer. I have no idea where I'm going to start with this search. I also have no idea where I'm going to find the money to do this. So if any of you in the community see this video and have solved your problem, or at least have a game plan for how you're going to snowbird in the future in order to get out of these nasty Canadian winters, please share it in the comments, because I cannot be the only one who has reached a point, driven primarily because of this nasty winter that we've been living with in 2026, to a point where we're simply looking as a sense for our own survival and mental well-being at ways that we can avoid this happening again for another winter coming up. Now, what are the things that are recommended to avoid the winter blues? Well, there are a few, and I've been doing my best to put most of these in place. First of all, light exposure. And I have one of those lamps. This is by Verilux. I got it off Amazon. And you plug it in and you can choose whether you want it to be a warm white or a cold white and the brightness. And you don't look at it head on. You just put it beside you while you're working at something on your desktop or eating whatever for about 20 minutes. And it just beams a light at you. The other suggestion, something I've always done, is on any day where the sun has shone in through the windows, and I know there haven't been that many of them so far in 2026, but any time in the middle of the afternoon when there is a little sunshine beaming in, I will make a point to change my plans of whatever I was planning to do within the house at that time, move over to the window and set up some kind of seating area and just lying there trying to soak up that sun. But truly it's the sun lamps, not the sun lamps, the sad lamps, the one I just held up, that are going to be the thing that they recommend for you. At my local library, they have a nice one propped up beside a big barrel chair that you can sit down and do some reading. If you, for some reason, don't want to purchase your own, you might look and see if your public library has that too. Maybe that's something they all offer, I don't know. The next thing that's recommended is your increase of your vitamin D supplementation. And of course, you need to run that by your doctor because there might be some other medication you're taking which, is not good to be taken with vitamin D. I don't know, and I don't know anything about your physical body. But for me, I normally would take 1,000 IU of vitamin D. I've upped mine. Normally, I would up it to 2,000, but I have really felt the need in the last month that I need to increase my vitamin D even stronger. The third strategy is really solid sleep hygiene. Have a very specific bedtime and a wake up time. Don't bounce all over the place with your when you go to bed and when you wake up if you can help it. Try to stay consistent. And the fourth thing that's highly recommended is social contact. And for me, as I said earlier in the video, my social contact has really gone down because so many plans have gotten canceled. But depending on where you are, if you can increase your social contact, that would be helpful. Last week when my injury was so acute, I only saw another human being twice the entire week because I was indoors the whole time, not moving, and because the weather was so bad that there wasn't really anybody I was going to be inviting over. And I'll tell you, by the end of last week, I was really feeling very much in a low place. I suspect I wouldn't have sank so low if I had had my normal social interactions. So do your best to try and engage socially with other people. Now, for those of you who are living with others, that's not so much a challenge. This is probably directed more to people who live alone. Now, none of those strategies are going to remove a harsh winter for you, but at least they're going to make small positive steps toward, just alleviating just how significant the impact might be on you. Worst case scenario is that you have a lot more, FaceTiming with people. Arrange a group get together on Zoom where everybody's eating their meal, but, socializing with each other. Just try to get creative, just the way we had to do in that first year of the pandemic. Try to bring in some of those strategies when you're stuck indoors during a harsh winter and feeling the winter blues. Some of the strategies I've also tried to follow in other years is to join something over the winter months, sign up for some kind of a sports league, although a lot of those would have been canceled this year, but this is an unusual year. And also reconsider where you're living, and that's a big thing to do, but it is something that is on my radar right now, is perhaps I'm not situated in the best environment for years moving forward, particularly if we do continue to have really harsh winters. We're not sure yet whether this is a pattern. We had a harsh winter last year, and then this is our second harsh winter, but this winter is even worse than last year. Is this a pattern? Well, you can't decide with 2 winters. But if I start to see another really harsh winter next year and then a fourth one, it could be that our whole weather pattern is changing. And at that point, I need to really consider whether I'm in the best location. I really feel strongly that, particularly for solos, as you age, that you need to be in positions that are winter friendly for you so that you have access to social events and to environments that help you stay physically active. That might be relocating closer to, a club that you join, a health club. It might mean living in a condo situation where you have a gym right within the premises. It might mean moving to a different place in Canada that receives less of a harsh winter, because where I am in central Ontario, I know there are places south of me and west of me that don't receive as much snow as I do. Or it might just mean the consideration that I was talking about earlier in the video, where I relocate somewhere for 8 weeks of the year. So thinking about the winter blues, not as a symbol that there's something wrong with you, but just a quiet whisper to you that there's maybe something just not really structured in your lifestyle right now that's going to be the best for you. And then making plans on how you can restructure things so that you don't face negative consequences during harsh winters. The blues do point you toward the intersection between mental, physical, and spiritual health. And they do deserve to be taken seriously. Whether your response is going to be better winter coping strategies, temporary lifestyle adjustments, or rethinking where to spend the coldest months, the goal should be the same. You're trying to design a life that supports a high quality of living, not just survival. And sometimes the most important realization about winter is that you're not failing winter. Sometimes winter is just asking a little too much. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and share. And perhaps you'd be interested in seeing any of the other videos that I've created. Just check up here and follow the link. This is Michelle at Solo in Canada, Musings from Midlife. And if you're interested, I also have a blog by that same name at www.soloincanada.ca. The link is down below. Now, for those of you who watched my sugar detox video about a month and a half ago, I said I would report back whether or not I was able to stick to the low sugar diet. And I am happy to report that it has not been a challenge. I just now see it as just my normal way of eating. I keep less than 24 grams of added sugar in my diet, and I'm not having any trouble sticking to that. So hopefully that's motivation for you if you also did your own sugar detox. And it also tells me that none of these winter blues I'm experiencing are the result of too high a sugar diet. It is not my diet that has caused this. It is the lack of sunshine, the low light days, and the indoor cabin fever, because the conditions are too harsh for me to go out, particularly with my most recent injury. See you next time.